Aloha, everybody. Welcome to the joint hearing between the Committees on Government Reform and Judiciary and Hawaiian Affairs. There is one item on our joint agenda today, Senate Bill 555, Senate Draft 1. First up, we have Kristen Zuma Nitao, Executive Director, Campaign Spending Commission.
Good morning, chairs. Good afternoon, chairs, vice chairs, and member of the committees. My name is Gary Kam. I'm with the Campaign Spending Commission. The commission supports this bill. The commission also recommends that the bill or the ban on fundraisers be extended to all elected offices, or at least all candidates for legislative offices. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Gary. Appreciate your testimony. Next up, Sandy Ma, Executive Director, Common Cause Hawaii.
Good afternoon, chairs, vice chairs, and members of the committees. Sandy Ma for Common Cause Hawaii. Common Cause supports SB 555 and offers some suggested amendments. Our suggested amendments are that during regular session and special session that legislators should be prohibited from receiving contributions or depositing any contributions. And legislators should be also prohibited from using any contributions of money that were not deposited prior to the start of legislative session. And we also ask that SB 555, the prohibition be extended to every statewide elected position and to every person seeking any statewide elected office. Thank you for allowing Common Cause to testify in support of this measure with suggested amendments, and I'm available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Next up, we got Beppe Shapiro, League of Women Voters of Hawaii. Written in support, Gary Hoosier, Executive Director of the Pono Hawaii Initiative. Written in support, we have T. George Paris, Managing Director of the Hawaii Ironworkers Stabilization Fund.
Aloha, chairs McKelvey and Nakashima and members of the committees. My name is Anthony Makana Paris. On behalf of T. George Paris of the Hawaii Ironworkers Stabilization Fund, we strongly support SB 555 as the bill will actually help to restore confidence in the public regarding our elected officials. But we believe that this bill in the current form does not go far enough. And therefore, we ask that you all consider adding in language in order to ensure that not only fundraisers cannot happen, but solicitations or any campaign contributions cannot happen with two amendments, including making sure that we look at the law from Utah Code 3611305, which it is unlawful for any person, lobbyist, principal, or political committee to make contribution to members of the legislature or the governor or to a candidate campaign committee of such a person during a legislative session. Mahalo nui loa for considering our contributions, and we support this measure. I'll be available for questions. Mahalo.
Thank you, Anthony. Appreciate it. Kat Brady, Coordinator of CAP, Community Alliance on Prisons.
Aloha. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak in strong support of this. And as other testifiers have said, I think any solicitations or any deposits made during a session should be a no-no. We really need to work on engaging the public and actually including them in these decisions, because this is really important and the legislature needs the public. So please respect that we have things that we can offer. So, and more than 2 minutes time. Thank you.
We're a little more flexible than judiciary. But that's why we're hearing the measure, so thank you. Okay, next up, Marilyn Yamamoto, Hawaii Family Advocacy Team. We have written in support from them. We also have Anna Freeback, Executive Director, Hawaii Alliance for Progressive Action. Written in support. We have Lenny Chinchillo Jr., Business Manager, IBEW, Local 1260. Written in support. We also have written testimony from numerous individuals, all in support. Several of these individuals, I'll read them off: Lynn Matsao, Barbara Polk, and Wendy Arbite, and Barbara Bess asked us to adopt Virginia's language. Are any of these individuals either in the audience or on Zoom who'd like to testify? Seeing none, is there anybody in the audience or Zoom who'd like to testify on the measure who did not submit written? Seeing none, members, are there any questions of the testifiers either in person or in Zoom? Seeing none, we'll recess for decision-making and quorum. Welcome back, everybody, to the joint hearing on Senate Bill 555, Senate Draft 1. We have members who have to run back to finance. So after consulting with my illustrious co-chair on the measure, the recommendation is that we're going to move this as a House Draft 1. Our intent is to expand this so that it includes all bodies of state government and county government while they're in the deliberative session or decision-making. The general language is candidates themselves or elected officials cannot hold fundraisers while the body they are a part of or seeking to be a part of, running, is in session. And again, this is going to go across the board to all entities. We're going to keep the date clean on this measure too. So we're going to work on exact language in the committee report. We're going to make sure that the legislative intent is clear. While we like to adopt the ideas offered by the ironworkers, the title is relating to fundraisers, so it's too restrictive for us to amend any donations whatsoever. So while we agree with them on doing that, with this vehicle, unfortunately, we can't do it. So members, that is the recommendation of both the committees of government reform and judiciary and Hawaiian affairs. Are there any questions?
Sure, question.
Yes.
When is the governor's included, and when is he in session that he can't do fundraising, or she?
It's whether they're in session or they're being a part of deliberative process. So admin rules have been brought up, they do admin rules, so he would not be able to be having fundraisers, he or she, I should say, sorry, during their deliberative process.
And the governor deliberative process is under what kind of boundaries or limitations or timing? Well, we don't know that yet.
But we're working on the language. of
Okay,
that
we're
one. But
working on
that's
the
the intent of this measure. We had language prepared, but there were some holes that the vice chair of judiciary discovered. And so working with him, we're going to go ahead and tighten up the language to make sure the intent is captured completely.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I had a question.
Yes.
So I'm not familiar with the other county councils like Jimmy is, but for the Honolulu City Council, they meet year round, obviously, but they take like a month recess. So this bill would say during that recess time, but not while we're in session, because again, they meet year round. That's the intent?
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
intent. Exactly. Unless they go into some sort of deliberative action, during that recess period, then it would count. Okay. Any other questions or comments? If not, Vice Chair, Senate Bill 555 SD1 HD1.
Thank you, Chair. Your recommendation to pass SB 555 SD1 with amendments, Chair and Vice Chair voting aye. Representative Costello. Aye. Representative Eli is excused. Representative Ichiyama. Aye. Representative Mizuno is excused. Representative Woodson.
Aye.
Representative Yamashita is excused. Representative Ward.
Aye.
Thank you, Chair. Your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you, committee members.
Committee on Judiciary and Hawaiian Affairs, same recommendation. Any questions or comments? Representative Rao.
Having been a member of the Kauai County Council, I would have a lot of concerns with only being able to fundraise during a very limited Christmas holiday. It's a very small gap and I think very unrealistic. So I will be voting with reservation.
Thank you. Representative Kobayashi.
Yeah, I would mirror that, I mean, I think it's really odd to amend in that way when it's gonna really make it so councils cannot have fundraisers. I mean, it seems almost like amending it in a way that'll definitely get killed. I mean, how can it possibly go through with saying city council could never have fundraisers 1 month out of the year? And, I mean, to begin with, if you are like, like Makana and other testifiers are saying, if you're gonna limit things, just say you can't take any donations. Like not having a fundraiser is really weak compared to saying you cannot raise money during session, or you cannot take donations. I mean, so you can't have a fundraiser, you can call up all the lobbyists you want and tell them, okay, well, yeah, I know this bill is important to you. By the way, can you send me a check? And that's fine. Just kind of a formal fundraiser. So, this really lacks the ability to be a much better bill. But really putting this amendment is really ensuring that it's not going to go through. Just given the nature of this, that's I guess the way this plays out. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Tapioca.
Thank you, Chair. I have similar concerns. But I understand what the intent is. I don't know how you fix the language because now if you talk about the governors and the mayors, they're in session all the time. So I think part of the intent is to make sure that it's a even playing field, and that will depend on how the language comes out. So I have some reservations right now for that reason, but if the general public is not watching this, they're gonna think that we're against not having fundraisers during session, which is absolutely not my intent. So when the language comes out, we'll see what happens. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about it. And you know, Nadine was a former council member, so was I.
So I think my only response to that is that, oh, you know, the council set their own calendars. So if they need to adjust it accordingly, I'm sure they will find a way. But given the title of the bill, there are only so many things that we can do and other things that would not be germane to the title. So
Yeah.
with that,
Yeah, that's appreciated. Chair. Thank you.
okay, Vice Chair as amended.
Chair's recommendation is to pass SB 555 ST1 with amendments. Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. Rep. Ichiyama.
Aye.
Rep. Kobayashi.
Aye.
Rep. Lopresti. Excuse. Rep. Lowen. Excuse. Rep. McKelvey.
Aye.
Rep. Nakamura is with reservations. Rep. Takumi.
Aye.
Rep. Tokioka.
Aye.
Rep. Ward. The chair recommendation is adopted.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, members. Appreciate you being here.